Hey y'all! Okay, today's the day we're going to cover the transiting gene key. It is gene key 57. I'm pulling up the dates now for when it is transiting. If you have this gene key in your profile, definitely have a listen to the audio on Triple Flame app by Richard Rudd. October 7th through October 13th, 2024 is when we are transiting through the 57. 57 is a fear gate in human design, fear or intuition gate, however you want to perceive it. And a big fear of the future lives here in the 57. It is known as a gentle wind with the shadow of unease, gift of intuition, Siddhi of Clarity. And so it is a part of the ring of matter. And the programming partner is the 51st gene key, as I mentioned in yesterday's Phoenix Diary. I am wearing my horse attire. Just got done with a horseback riding lesson and I am dirty. I'm seeing dirt on different parts of me. And about to hop into the shower and needed to record the Phoenix Diary for today. So here we are. Okay, 57. So as I mentioned, we've been in this energy for a few days now. So as you listen to this, reflect on your energy and what you've come across. There's like dirt on me. If you've come across unease, and of course, when we talk about programming partners, we talk about the shadow of the programming partner as well becoming activated. So that 51's shadow is agitation. The 57 shadow is unease. I have the most perfect cup of cacao right here. And my Costa Rica cup. Oh, what a beautiful year it's been. So much travel, so much expansion. I have a in-person cacao training coming up in November. If that is something that interests you, if you would like to learn more about cacao, deepen your relationship with her, or begin to share her in your own way with your family or in circle or whatever, however I can support you, I am happy to. This will be my second group of guides, so I'm very excited, and we will be doing it in the secret location that is my casa. So very sacred. It's very intimate, and it's a very sacred opening for me to welcome y'all into my home and to do the training here. It really is the most intimate place for me in this world that I know of. It's been a nest in a container that has held me through so much, and so it's an honor to offer its beautiful healing energy to y'all. This space, this land, my home, it's very sacred, very special, and the things that will happen on that weekend will be magical, but also the space, the land, and the container that we will create as a collective are equally special in the healing capacity. So I like to do those trainings like a retreat so that you are nourished as a person through our time together. You get to deepen your understanding of your purpose and how to approach your purpose. And then of course you're here to learn and understand cacao in every aspect, how to prepare it, what it is made up of, its history, the benefits, and then we have several meditations and journeys that we go on to deepen your connection to Mama Cacao. One of my most favorite journeys that we go on, and I have a little bit of sound healing involved with it, is to marry your soul with Mama Cacao's spirit. And it's a journey on union, and that's the intention of it. And sometimes the journey goes a little differently based on where you're at, but some of the guides of the last group had an incredible experience with meeting Mama Cacao and coming into union with her. So okay, enough of that. Let's get into the 57. Okay, 57 gene key. I've got a good bit of reading here that I'm going to be doing to you today, so I really hope it serves you and I hope it's nourishing for you. And I may take a few cacao breaks because that cup is so dang good. Okay, 57, Shadow of Unease. Let's begin with the shadow. Even light can be reduced down to a sonic signature. The 57 gene key is absolutely everything in life is acoustic, is what it's here to show us. The most sensitive mammals can hear well beyond our abilities. We know, for example, that dogs can hear high-pitched sounds, and creatures such as whales and elephants can hear sound frequencies far below our own spectrum. Other creatures, such as insects, interpret sound through their entire bodies or legs as pure vibration, which is, of course, exactly what it is. This entire work on the 64 gene keys is a human attempt to paint a picture of the universe of different frequencies that we inhabit and that move through us and around us. The ancient symbol for the 57 hexagram in the I Ching is the wind. As a symbol, wind has many dimensions. It is also a symbol for the pervasiveness of spirit because it moves invisibly around the world, touching everyone. When seen from the shadow consciousness, wind can be brutal and even terrifying, uprooting and destroying wherever it goes. When the wind is up, it often conveys a sense of unease. This 57 shadow represents a very deep and ancient fear, the fear of what might be coming, of not knowing what is in the wind. Human beings are genetically programmed to fear the future. It is wired into our DNA through this 57 shadow. In our early prehistory, human beings functioned almost entirely through their individual attunement to frequency. If their intuition picked up something dangerous in the wind, their instincts immediately caused their bodies to move accordingly, whether that meant running or hiding or grabbing a weapon. We are caught in a global web of fear, so much so that our fear has become collective, and we fear for the future of our species. The great contemporary symbol of our fear is money. Apart from those who have accumulated great wealth, the majority of human beings project their fear of the future onto money or the lack thereof. Ironically, those who have a great deal of money have discovered that it doesn't take away fear. Fear simply relocates to somewhere else in the psyche. All of this fear and anxiety keeps human beings stuck in their heads from where it is very hard to escape. No form of thinking can take away the fear because the fear is there precisely because of the thinking. Which is why when we are in a negative thought loop, it just fuels itself. It's exactly what I just said. We get trapped in a negative thought loop. And the more we think, the deeper the hole goes that we're in, and the more momentum we have to loop around on ourselves. It's really interesting how we think to escape the fear, we think more. But it's not that. Cacao break. I'm actually very intentionally bringing cacao into this Phoenix Diary because this 57th gene key is asking us to soften. It's asking us to marry the masculine of the mind with the feminine of the heart. And so it's really important to me that cacao, which is for me a very feminine medicine, is present here. So let's break the shadow down in repressive and reactive, and then we'll move on to the gift. Repressive nature, hesitant. Hesitancy occurs when an intuition is suppressed by the power of the mind. The body knows what is correct in every cell of its being, but the mind immediately imposes its doubt, anxiety, or opinion, thereby rendering the true perception powerless. In this way, all true alignment to the power of the now is lost, and clarity, which is pristine and visceral, is repressed in the body. Spontaneous clarity is a state that exists outside the mind and can only be known through the purity of being. The sheer aliveness of a clear and instantaneous knowing is the cornerstone of one's true inner radiance and health. Hesitancy or indecision is the hallmark of the shadow frequency. These are people who tend to become trapped by their own worries, which make them unable to really feel the certainty of spontaneous clarity and commitment. The reactive nature, impetuous. Impetuousness arises as a human reaction to unease or fear. Its sole purpose is to try to escape or bring an end to fear through making a quick decision. Such decisions are not made from the state of clarity described above, but are themselves rooted in fear. Because of the nature of impetuous decisions, they can only lead to more misery. Not only do they fail to bring an end to the feeling of uneasiness, but they also manifest additional turmoil in one's outer life. A reactively made decision can only move in the opposite direction of evolution, therefore against the flow of nature. This is not to say that such decisions are necessarily wrong. Life needs to create turmoil as part of its own awakening process. The key to escaping the loop that such decisions inevitably create is to detect one's fear and experience it fully without reacting first. This witnessing is precisely what dismantles the pattern. Sounds like take a breath, take 10, then respond. Let's move into the gift. Intuition. Of all the 64 gene keys, few have such a profound connection to individual human health as the 57th gene key. As the foundation aspect of the ring of matter, the 57th gene key governs the cycle of gestation, which in turn lays the pattern of your development throughout childhood. It is during this primary cycle that all your genetic programming is laid down. Your genes build your body at the frequency of the energetic field in which your mother lives. Therefore, every mother plays a crucial role in the biological, emotional, and mental structure of the child. The mother is actually a co-creator of the incarnating child, and every thought, feeling, and impulse running through her being will direct the DNA within the fetus. This obviously puts a huge responsibility on pregnant mothers and has significant implications concerning the transformation of our species through deep honoring of the mother and of importance of her role during pregnancy. 57 gift of intuition is basically your body's system for interacting harmoniously with the outer world. It is the low frequency prenatal programming that later interferes with the clear operation of your intuition. Although all illnesses were imprinted during the gestation cycle, they can be healed through directly raising the frequency of your DNA. This essentially resets or reboosts your entire genetic operating system. Very cool. There is hope. Okay, I've got a big nugget I want to read to you. I hope this is serving you. I find so much understanding through directly reading Richard's words of these gene keys. If you haven't caught on already, this is an extremely intuitive gate. And so you may have found this week as it's been transiting that you have had increased activity in your dream time. You've had spontaneous downloads, more communication with your guides or angels, nudges, niggles, wiggles, itches, spirit speaking to you in all sorts of ways. And I also find that this gene key helps increase animal communication. If you review the evolution of human awareness up until our present point in time, you may discover a vital insight on which our future evolution will hinge. This insight concerns the role of the inner masculine and inner feminine principles. If we go back in our evolution to primitive man, we can see how deeply developed was our instinctive awareness, our gut feeling or hunch. Our individual survival depended on the innate animal instinct functioning through our bodies, i.e., through the 5 primary senses and the mythical 6th sense, that ability to perceive something coming before our physical senses actually detect it. All human beings alive today have inherited this inner 6th sense if we but knew how to trust in it. In a word, your most inner compass is your intuition. Your most powerful inner compass is your intuition. Having developed our intuition, the feminine aspect of our psyche, humanity then went on to develop its masculine side, the mind. Whereas intuition listens and receives, mind explores and conquers. This is why our current epoch is so fascinating. We human beings must now remember our past and reconnect to the power of our intuition. Having done this, we will have to learn to trust our intuition over and above our mental faculties. In this way, we will create a naturally structured internal psyche that mirrors nature. Intuition is how nature talks to and through human beings. It is the auditory canal through which the whole coordinates and communicates with its many parts. If we humans can attune ourselves to this gentle, subtler inner voice, we will finally begin to feel physically at ease. Furthermore, when our internal hierarchy is naturally formulated in this way, the genius of the mind can finally come into play and follow the dictates of nature herself. The mind, the human mind, is a truly extraordinary instrument. It is also a very dangerous instrument without the proper internal guidance. We can all see how destructive the mind can be when it is allowed free range without the sense of being connected to the whole. As humanity learns once again to trust its deeper feminine side, as it's beginning to do, the mind will naturally fall into its own rhythm. This revolution is already underway in the individual. Intuition emerges from the whole, so it naturally leads to synthesis, and intuition, backed by intellect, is capable of extraordinary things. The fact is that the more you trust in your intuition, the more integrated your life becomes. Your relationships open up and become softer. The path of your destiny is made increasingly clear, and events move more smoothly, as though the entire universe were supporting you. This is, of course, exactly what is occurring. The process of learning to again trust in your intuition is nothing less than the dismantling of the illusion that you are separate from life. It is a return to the heightened sensitivity you had in your mother's womb. The more you widen this pathway inside yourself, the easier life becomes. Your fear and anxiety will persist in the beginning, but after some time, intuition will become more natural and powerful inside you, as though an invisible force were overriding your old conditioning programming. Every time you trust in your intuition, you make a decision based on it. You raise the frequency of your whole aura. This is just everything. This is, as a spiritual teacher, as a priestess, as a guide, this is the work, is to help increase people's abilities to hear themselves, and then to also furthermore trust in themselves, to trust in what they're hearing, and to know that it is true, even though it might not be as convincing with as much evidence as these fucking things. I have no idea why or how they work. Okay, thumbs up. Trusting your intuition. And when we make a decision from that place, even though it's not as convincing as the mind might be with as much evidence, it is nevertheless more potent, more wise. If that makes sense. Okay, the Siddhi, shall we? Clarity. Oh man, I feel like I've really been seeking clarity a lot lately. And I've been getting it in the form of contrast. Anybody else resonate with that? I have been getting shown things I don't like. And it is assisting me in showing me what I would like. So clarity is coming through contrast. Yeah. I wonder if there's any other way to get clarity. Sometimes experiencing contrast is not so fun. Okay, the art of softness. At the higher reaches of the 57th gene key, you begin to access the ability to tune your clairaudience beyond the borders of time. This marvelous gift thus allows you to bend time and intuit the future, which in turn changes the way you live your life, allowing you to relax more deeply into your being than ever before. Even at this incredibly high level of consciousness, however, the subtle traces of shadow frequencies may still remain. Your abilities allow you to sense what is coming, but you are still functioning within the realm of duality. In seeing the future, you acknowledge its existence, and as long as it exists, you don't function fully within the present. Your awareness at these levels has stabilized for the most part in the present, but it still flickers in and out of the present moment. When the ancient sages spoke of the Siddhis or special powers as potential obstacles to the path of liberation, they may well have been referring to the upper reaches of the 57th gene key. Because your frequency becomes very refined at this level, your intuition penetrates everything, including human beings. The sheer sense of power one feels from being able to sense the future or read a person's aura in this way can become an addiction to one operating at this level. The subtlest fear becomes the fear of losing all that power by going any further. Of course, when the veil lifts and reveals the 57th city, you do indeed lose these powers, but not in the sense that one would normally understand. What you lose is the sense of power itself. That makes so much sense. Since you lose your identification as a separate being, the whole concept of individual power comes to an end. Consciousness is the gentlest, most subtle phenomenon. This is why the ancient sages so frequently likened it to water or wind, elements of such subtlety and softness that they can penetrate everything. Clarity is about seeing the softness at the heart of all things. In the acoustic field of life, everything rises from softness and returns to the same softness. When you live your life in harmony with this softness, you come into accord with what the ancients call the Tao, the transcendence of the opposites. Furthermore, as you open yourself to this gentleness, this manifestation of clarity, it will reveal itself in your life continually, through the sound of the wind furrowing the treetops or a puff of cloud drifting across an ocean sky. The same softness is to be found everywhere, since it is the spirit of life itself. If you allow it, it will transport you immediately into the world of the eternal now. Final nugget here. Among humans, the art of gentleness is the greatest of the lost arts. We do not realize that the more softly we lay our hand upon something, the more it opens to us and the more deeply we can access it. Our minds tell us the opposite must be the case. This 57th city, like all the cities, contains the mystery of the feminine principle, even though it is beyond duality itself. Those who really understand the true meaning of healing know that it is about this essence of softness. This 57th city holds the secrets of miraculous healing through its specific ability to attune to the subtleties of physical DNA. Such gentleness opens the heart and leads to transcendence. Despite what our minds assume, gentleness knows no weakness. It simply operates according to its own laws and timing. Operating beyond weakness and strength, it permeates everything. Clarity is the realization that everything is linked through gentleness. When someone attains enlightenment through this 57th city, it manifests through them in an extraordinary and beautiful way. They become a tuning fork for the divine presence. Right? So beautiful. I had a moment so full of gentleness and tenderness today with Bean. It's the horse I ride. I adore him so much. We've really come to develop this special relationship, and we have the ability to really communicate with each other. It feels so safe and grounding being in his presence. But today there was such a moment of tenderness where it was after our ride. We had a great ride, and I was feeding him and just holding his feed while he kind of dug into it. And, you know, while I'm holding it in front of me and his head is there, and we had come so far. When I first started riding him, I could reach up to pet him and he would flinch away, you know, and he just had a lot of things to overcome with trust. And so now just holding his feed while he's eating and being right there, so close to him, and just stroking his neck, and his ear was right there, and I just began to speak into it. And it flickered back and forth, and he blinked and was so present, so almost leaned in closer to me, you know, while I spoke to him. And I just spoke to him about some things that I've been wanting to call in, and dreams and desires, and I described them in detail to him and just felt his gentle presence lean in and listen to me. That's how it felt anyway. It was so soft, so tender. And I felt so heard and I felt witnessed. And he really taught me how important it is to just um, hold loving space for someone. It's of course what I often do for clients, and I find I don't often have that space for me. And it was just such a treat to experience that gift from him. And for those of you that know horses, you can tell when they're present and engaged and soft, or when they are agitated or distracted, or yeah. So it was just beautiful to feel him so present and tender with me. And I felt like whispering into his ear was like whispering into God's ear. It was like sending my desires and my dreams out through this beautiful being into the world, and almost feeling like it was getting closer to me as I spoke to him. It was so beautiful. And it felt like that tuning fork of the divine, I hope this week gives you some insights, perhaps some channeling, some beautiful dreams. And my dear friend gave me some advice of like, set some goals, because you likely are tapped into some intuition that might be giving you breadcrumbs. So that's what I'm doing with this energy this week. And I'm writing down my dreams and practicing tenderness with myself, and really just holding myself like a little gentle baby. And whatever I need, whatever baby needs, baby gets. And that's really helping ease some of the agitation shadow that's being triggered by this unease shadow in the programming partners of the 57 and the 51. So I love you all. I hope this week treats you well. I hope you treat it well. I hope you're soft and gentle and tender, as much as you can be. And know that you are loved. You are meant to be here, and everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. May you listen to your intuition and know what to say, what to do, and when. I love you. See you soon.